So the real issue is the political fragmentation on the basis of community to convert Muslims or parts of Hindu community into voting blocks. That is really the big challenge. If that is addressed, and if you give education, healthcare to every single citizen, and your birth and your community will not determine your opportunities to rise, opportunities, vertical mobility are available to all, then I have no doubt that the Hindu-Muslim issue is not going to be an issue at all. Even now, at the people-to-people level, it's not an issue. Politically, it's an issue. And of course, given the global circumstances of terrorism and many other factors, this whole stigmatization of Muslims globally, to some extent in India, but much less so in India, I should say, happily, it is there. But I see that improving significantly. What it also shows is that where the politics and governance are the problem, not the people. After all, the finest Muslim actors and singers and other artists, they are not treated as Muslim artists and singers. They are treated as Indians, or cricketers, for instance. They are fully Indian in every sense. Indian society as a whole embraces them unreservedly. So the people to people is not a problem. Politics and governance. Politics because it divides. Governance because it does not provide the basic services to enhance human capabilities.
Will India be forced to change some of its norms, attitudes and values because of the force of globalization?
Family will continue to be an enduring Indian institution, I have no doubt. Wherever you are, there are going to be some adjustments in the family. A joint family has already become a nuclear family in many ways, and that's inevitable in a modern economy. The second is the strength of our culture and our civilization and our dance and music and our literature, arts, that will actually grow. If anything, there will be even greater sense of identity and uniqueness, even as it is blended with the West. I have no doubt about that. Third is some of our best practices of the past, like the yoga. They're probably going to be even more important. Already they become fashionable as occupational diseases and lifestyle problems become important in the profile of ill health and disease in the world. They're going to be important. So these we're going to retain. But some of the bad practices like caste, I think, will disappear and should disappear. It's a shame that it's not disappeared as fast as it should, actually. And some other things will have to change ways. For instance, the marriage within the caste groups, a certain sense of xenophobia, even as there is fascination for the world. Indians are unique in that sense. We adore the rest of the world, anything foreign, Western is adored. And yet there is this xenophobia. There is this the sense of uniqueness which does not allow us to mingle completely. Now, until recently, we are very conservative. I think the evidence now is that we are going to be, we're going to go through a phase like in the 60s in the US and elsewhere. Some such revolution is going to take place.
You talked about caste, and hopefully we will do away with caste, but Mahatma Gandhi said that caste is the basis of Hinduism.
He was wrong. He was completely wrong. I mean, Gandhiji was a great man, one of the greatest of all human history, certainly the greatest in the past 1,000 years of India, no question about it. But Gandhiji was completely wrong. That worldview is something that's unacceptable in this day and age.
Will the role of religion in Indian public life increase or decrease?
I think it's actually already decreasing. It's politically propped up as an issue, but if religion is really playing an important role in India, there must be an all-Hindu party forever in power. Whereas the reality is, even a Hindutva party like BJP cannot afford to only talk of the Hindu things. They realized politically it's impossible for two reasons. A, by temperament and nature, Indian people always have a sense of dharma beyond religion, right and wrong. It's instinctive. In Gujarat, when something terrible happened, the whole of India, it's not the West, it's not the Muslims of India, the whole of India responded, no, it's not right. We recognize. But I think our civilization has given us certain strengths. We have the resilience, and we have the capacity to forget and forgive. We don't have this sense of, absolute sense of justice, quote-unquote justice, no, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Some people see it as a weakness. I would also say there are some strengths in that, the willingness to forgive.
Is there anything that appalls you about developing nations, especially India?
I don't know if there is a God. I am an agnostic.
Okay.
But I do believe there are two great sins. The first is unfulfilled potential. If a human being who is endowed by nature, by creator, depending on your faith and your belief, endowed with certain capabilities, cannot fulfill that potential, does not have the opportunities for vertical mobility, not only economically but intellectually and emotionally, does not have the capacity to indulge in intellectual athleticism that she is fully capable of by endowment, natural endowment, to me that is the greatest sin. There's no greater sin than that. That in today, this time and age, a person's future is determined at birth by circumstances of birth. It appalls me, it makes me angry, and it makes every human being angry. And it should make every human being angry. And the second biggest sin is, aligned to that, avoidable suffering. But there are many, many things which are entirely avoidable, fully preventable, avoidable suffering. Like much of, until recently, for instance, India had poliomyelitis, polio, in large numbers. And every day, more than 1,000 people fell prey to polio. Luckily, now in the past 5-6 years, we made a significant dent, though there are still some residual problems in this country. Like, for instance, blindness in this country, like the number of unnecessary deaths in this country, like poverty, which is wholly avoidable in this country. So avoidable suffering, where the water supply is not available, drinking water is not sanitation. You can think of 100 things, avoidable suffering.
What 3 words would you use to describe India as you see it today?
The 3 words that strike me are growth, opportunity, poverty.
And you surprised me and stunned me by your admission that you are an agnostic, you don't believe in God. What is the source of inspiration that you have? What inspires you?
I grew up in a village, and even today, in my mind's eye, I'm a village kid. I really can't see myself as a person of my age in chronological sense, or a person who could live in a city or go to cities or travel across the world. That's all incidental. But in reality, I'm a village kid. And the 2 sins that I talked about, I see them in abundance in this country. And they're unacceptable to me. They're not intellectual issues to me. They're deeply emotional issues. That a human being cannot fulfill her potential because of birth is something deeply offensive to me at a personal level. Not only at a societal and human level, but as a human being, I find it offensive. If something is not possible, then I wouldn't really bother too much about it. It's tragic, it's grievous, but nothing can be done about it. But something can be done about it. It is self-evident. It is there. It doesn't happen. Damn it, it should happen.
So what inspires you? What is the source of inspiration that's driving you?
In some senses, the sense of continuity. Somebody said once memorably, and that thought was an amazing one. 2 things. One is, today, the people alive today in the globe, the 6 billion plus people, they account for half of all human beings who ever lived on earth. Many of us don't realize it. Half of all human beings who ever were born and lived on earth, they live today. We coexist with half of all human civilization in simple numbers today. In many ways, we're the heirs to this great human civilization and evolution. The second, every breath we take has billions and billions of molecules, probably equal to all the human beings of Earth. And we actually, literally share every breath we take with everybody in the world. And we are indistinguishable.
Amazing.
Every molecule is recycled and recycled. No new molecules are getting added except a few meteoric showers. It is this we are recycling. Somehow, that the skin color or the language or nationality or religion or something else, that all these things make us feel that we are unique is ridiculous. We simply pass on the genes to the next generation. Even our children, we are accidental conduits for genetic transmission. They don't belong to us. We of course love them, nourish them, but it's not our children alone in a biological sense. All of our children are the children of all of us.